CJK, you've been in Bitcoin for 11 years. Before we get into your company, I want to know who you are, what's your story, and this is before we get into People's Reserve. So you have a history in Bitcoin and crypto and a history in traditional finance, and you are now merging those worlds together.
I come from a background of just being taught and paying to learn traditional finance methods and accounting methods. My journey actually started in 2013 and have a history of being in accounting and later on in finance. So I learned all the traditional things. But then when I found Bitcoin, I started learning all the things that I didn't pay to learn. And that's what really got me interested. I like to say I went to the bottom of the rabbit hole. I planted some dynamite and I went deeper, set up some furniture down there so everybody could come and study with me. And it's been an absolutely an amazing experience. After I found Bitcoin, shortly after I started doing mining, at that time I was building my own rigs, piecing my own rigs together, using GPU units. Saw what was happening with the industry getting access to US capital markets through publicly traded miners. Knew I wouldn't be able to compete, so moved out of that, but not before I created the Bitcoin fair value algorithm, which miners use to manage their treasury through the different cycles based on cost of production. So it's been a great experience learning about free market money, free market finance, and just see the world transform. There's no doubt in my mind that the rate and pace of adoption is accelerating, and we are truly heading into a new era of finance. And we would not be doing that if it weren't for Bitcoin and crypto and everything we see coming from the marketplace today. I think that's my biggest advantage. And then being able to understand that and then look at the digital economy and saying, okay, I see why some of these solutions make sense because over here, I'm experiencing the problems. I'm living through the problems. I'm watching companies face these problems. And there are no real solutions to these problems. But with crypto technology and, of course, Bitcoin as the foundational layer of the internet economy, a truth ledger that can't be defrauded, you start to see how everything pieces together. The light bulb goes off, the orange pill gets taken down, and you see that how Bitcoin is a solution with crypto there as a complement, helping to move the world of finance into the technology age. It seems it might be the only thing that's lagging behind the movement into technology. But here we are today, and it's accelerating.
So introduce our audience and myself to the People's Reserve. I know it's finance in the crypto space, but please tell us, what is the People's Reserve?
People's Reserve is a one-stop shop for everything life, Bitcoin, and real estate. But our main focus is on Bitcoin-powered finance. We believe that Bitcoin is the most pristine form of collateral in the world. And we believe that in the future, the real risk-free borrower in the marketplace and the real risk-free rate of return is going to be established in the Bitcoin-powered finance marketplace. When it comes to credit markets and cash flow, there is no better form of collateral than Bitcoin. And right now, Wall Street is monetizing Bitcoin as digital gold. And I believe what comes next is the financialization of the asset class. So People's Reserve is positioned to take advantage of a successful monetization and then eventually financialization. And what do I mean by financialization? I mean plugging Bitcoin in to traditional financial products and business models. And it turns out when you plug Bitcoin into these different products and business models, you can actually optimize the business. You can increase bottom lines. I think the famous way to say that today is Bitcoin is the hurdle rate. But we can't go in an economy that you only invest in Bitcoin. There's no goods, there's no services. You only invest in Bitcoin and hold Bitcoin to create value. No, there's going to be an economy. There's going to be a world where people shake hands and provide goods and services to everybody else. That's how the economy works. But when you integrate Bitcoin into that economy, it turns it into a powerhouse. It mitigates risk. It increases efficiency, increases bottom lines. I think we're poised here to see Bitcoin's integration lead to an economic explosion that a lot of mainstream heads don't talk about because we're so focused on Bitcoin as digital gold in the mainstream narrative. But really, I think for people like yourself and your audience who have been following closely, they understand Bitcoin is so much more than digital gold and crypto is so much more than just a small niche technology. This is going to be integrated. And when it is, it's going to optimize the economy, optimize business. And that's going to lead to some growth that I think the traditional economists are not expecting to come from such a niche part of the world. Bitcoin and crypto will come and take the main stage, center stage. I think in the United States, we're seeing that now, where the current administration pushing for USA to be the crypto capital of the world. That's amazing. That's such a big stride of progress. And the good thing is that Unlike a lot of political promises, I don't believe it's a false promise. I believe this promise is actually going to deliver. And when we integrate Bitcoin and we optimize, we're going to see some benefits as a people and a society that you can't really put a value on right now. And that's what gets me so excited and passionate about People's Reserve playing a role in help ushering in that new era of finance that can increase everybody's quality of life and standard of living simply because of a stronger, more sound money foundation than the current system.
And, in Bitcoin and crypto and the altcoin daily audience in general, there are people with work on Wall Street, rich people, average people, regular people doing things with crypto. When I go to your website and I look at your products, who are your products for?
There's no doubt that Michael Saylor has opened the Pandora's box of financial engineering. And I think what he's doing with his convertible debt notes and preferred offerings is more of a financial engineering that's geared towards the corporations and institutions. And at People's Reserve, our main focus is more on the everyday person. So one of our flagship products is the Bitcoin powered mortgage. So obviously institutions are looking for cash flow, and a preferred offering with a guaranteed cash flow is more interesting to that institution or corporation versus a backing of a mortgage. But for the everyday person who's working and clocking in and clocking out and delivering value to the economy, and then being a responsible saver by spending less than they're earning and then taking those savings and putting it in Bitcoin as a savings technology, how do they get empowered besides just number goes up? And that's where People's Reserve comes in with financial engineering for the everyday person. By integrating Bitcoin into a mortgage product, those responsible savers of Bitcoin, they can now unlock the purchasing power of their Bitcoin without giving up ownership. And that kind of goes back to my experience. Every product or service we have here at People's Reserve is really based off of either a failure or an experience that I had over my journey in this industry. And in 2019, I bought a single family home for 100 Bitcoin. So today, 100 Bitcoin, pretty much worth $12 million. My single family starter home, I'd be lucky in this marketplace with interest rates where they are to get $500,000 for my home. So looking at that and saying, wow, I could have $12 million of value on my balance sheet. Instead, I have, a $500,000 home that cost me time and energy to maintain. And I knew that created a problem. So the goal was to create a product that allows these responsible savers to, again, unlock that purchasing power without giving up ownership, which is transforming Bitcoin from just a money to a collateral. And then, we also have our Bitcoin bond product, which is catered towards both corporations and people who are looking for cash flow. We believe that the Bitcoin bond will be the lowest risk, highest reward cash flow vehicle in the world. And what we do is we simply combine US Treasuries with Bitcoin. And it could be a treasury note or it could be a municipal bond.
It's described on your website, I see. Fuse US Treasury debt with Bitcoin. This is your lowest risk, highest reward cash flow vehicle.
Absolutely. And the magic of it is this, the way that it's structured. So it's actually, we call it a Bitcoin bond, but technically it's a principal protected note. And this is really important, not only for the individual, but also for small and medium-sized businesses who have reached out to us looking for a way to get exposure to Bitcoin. We all know that we have these big multi-billion-dollar institutions becoming Bitcoin treasury companies, right? Doing $400 and $500, $700 billion SPAC deals to accumulate Bitcoin. But how does the everyday small and medium-sized business get exposure to Bitcoin? For your listeners who run an SMB, they understand, look, the revenues that I'm bringing in, I need to reinvest that into my business. I can't be buying large chunks of Bitcoin, keeping it on my balance sheet and trapping that equity on my balance sheet. What happens if I need to hire a new employee? If there's land, labor, and material costs that need to be covered, revenues roll back into the business to grow the business. It's really hard to get exposure to Bitcoin when you're in that situation. It's not fair. But this principal protected note, number one, it's structured in a way where it protects your principal. So if you invest $1 million into a Bitcoin bond and the current rate on that note is 4.5%, we put 80% of the million into the debt note. In this case, it would be a treasury note or a municipal bond.
I do want to talk about your token, PRN, and the loyalty tiers and benefits in general. Could you explain your token, the tokenomics, and what the loyalty program is?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a well-known Bitcoin maxi. So some people come out, they're like, what is this? What do you mean loyalty token? Well, because Bitcoin is money. And nothing can compete with Bitcoin as money. And anything trying to compete with Bitcoin as money is a scam. So why does crypto exist? Not to compete with Bitcoin, but to complement it. In our term, evolving Bitcoin from digital gold by building these Bitcoin powered financial products, evolving it into pristine collateral. And then to complement that collateral with our ecosystem, we developed our loyalty system. And the loyalty system points are tracked through our token. And what happens is you can be a basic silver, gold, or diamond level loyalty. And every single product and service on our platform is tied to what loyalty level. So your cost to use that service is based on your loyalty level. And for our swap engine, for instance, 25 basis points on swaps. So you're beating automated market maker rates with that swap rate. And with our Bitcoin powered mortgage, the starting rate, if you don't want the token or don't want to hold tokens, that's fine. We're happy to work with you as a basic level user. Your interest rate starts at 10.5%. And then you can knock, if you over collateralize by that 200%, you can knock off that 4% we talked about, and you're at 6.5%. So even if you don't hold tokens, you can be prime minus on your mortgage with Bitcoin as collateral. But if you embrace the loyalty system and you believe in the long-term tokenomics of what we've designed from what we've learned in our experience in the marketplace, at the diamond level, you can knock off or 4% off of 7.5 starting rate. And that's where you get the 3.5 percentage points. So literally, as a diamond level loyalty member with a Bitcoin powered mortgage, you have access to the cheapest cost of capital in the world for any home buyer in the entire world. There is no home buyer who can borrow at 3.5%. But because you are posting the most pristine form of collateral, and because People's Reserve understands it as engineered money, and because you've invested in our ecosystem by holding the loyalty token, you now become the risk-free borrower because of how you set yourself up. And that is our thesis on this, is that Bitcoiners and responsible savers who have the ability to post Bitcoin as collateral, they are the risk-free borrower. They should have access to the risk-free interest rate. So to take advantage of those prime minus interest rates, you're going to want to get the loyalty token in order to qualify. And again, if you're loading your debit card and using the credit card, you're getting the lowest interest rates. We have a health share model coming out. And if you're a loyalty member, you're going to get health insurance with the same benefits you get from the big guys for the cheapest cost in the entire world, because it's powered by Bitcoin and Bitcoin bonds, and you're rewarded for your loyalty through the tokens. And for the first time with our loyalty token, there is a crypto that is tied to real world products that can lower your costs so that your cash flow can provide for an increased quality of life and standard of living. And that's what this movement is all about. So I couldn't be more excited to see the crypto and freedom movement finally be integrated into the system so that it delivers real world benefits to customers and adopters of the technology.
CJK, thank you so much for coming on today. Give us, a final thought, final call to action as somebody who's been in this space 11 years, understands how traditional finance and crypto is coming together, and now we're here. What should we know?
What we like to say is don't speculate, calculate. Because you can look at that product or service and then understand, yes, if I buy this loyalty token and I'm at this diamond level or gold level or silver level, whatever level you choose, you can calculate your savings on the product and service you know you're going to use. So don't speculate, calculate, and understand how that's going to help you increase your quality of life and standard of living. And right now, we are actually in the middle of our token sale. So we're about halfway through. We're about to move into stage 6. It goes up to stage 10. And then after the conclusion of the token sale, we will list our token on Uniswap Live, and then the platform will go live. So unlike a lot of token sales that we've seen in this industry where you buy and you have to wait a very long time, we didn't create the token to build something. We built something first and then introduced the token so that our customers can understand the value they're going to get from it, so that you can buy that token and in very short order get onto the platform and benefit from that purchase so that you can start to see those savings and have that free cash flow. And I think that's the most important thing. And of course, follow along on X at CJ Constantinos and at People's Reserve. I believe that People's Reserve is at the tip of the spear for financial engineering for the everyday person. So whether you become a customer or not, follow along, interact with our community, and ultimately it's our experiences that help us develop our products.